And I'm going to make this larger. And I'm going to minimize these faces for the recording. I'm going to wait till the end for questions because there aren't a ton of us. So that way I can keep the corner minimized to make the recording a little cleaner. But today we're going to talk real basic about licensing and registering your Washington state business. I know some of you are looking to start a business. I know at least one of you already has a business. So maybe it's just going to be a review for you, but after how do I fund my business? What kind of license do I need is definitely one of our most asked questions. So if you don't know who we are, SIMBA is the Spokane Independent Metro Business Alliance. That is a mouthful, which is why we say SIMBA. And also we started in Spokane, but we actually work in 13 Eastern Washington counties. So we are a little larger than Spokane. And sometimes when you go to smaller rural spaces, saying you're a Spokane org turns people off a little bit for good reason. We're a C3 nonprofit, and our focus is solely on supporting entrepreneurs, small businesses, and other nonprofits for kind of the business of running your business. So whether that is getting your license or doing your marketing or filing your state taxes or what kind of insurance do I need to be in a market, any of those questions are the things we know. I always tell people I can't make a candle. Maybe I could figure it out, but it'd probably just store in my kitchen. No one's going to hire me to cater their event. I'm not going to run a restaurant. I'm definitely not going to rebuild your deck, but at SIMBA, myself and our staff can help you with the business of running your business. So that is why our focus is on education. It's also why we're growing our resources for free resources beyond just our meetings that are a small fee to be able to give as much as we can. So our mission is to empower and enrich entrepreneurs, micro and small businesses, and local consumers through education, community engagement, and advocacy throughout Spokane and Eastern Washington. Free group trainings, an on-demand resource library of videos and workshops. I think we have 22 on there right now that range from 30 minutes to, I think one of them is 2 hours. The ones that are not Zoom meetings or professionally recorded, so they're a little more polished. And then we also run the Live Local in the Northwest Directory and Marketplace that some of you know about, or maybe you've been around town and seen signs in stores saying I'm a Live Local business. It's a free directory marketplace for any independent local business or nonprofit in Eastern Washington to advertise their goods and services, to share about events, even if that's like a sale you're hosting, to let people know where you're going to be if you don't have a brick and mortar. So maybe you're going to be at the Fairwood Farmers Market. So you can let people know. You can also offer custom deals there. As a consumer, you can find over 1,100 Eastern Washington businesses sorting by things like women owned or native owned, or by neighborhood in Spokane. So maybe you're in the Garland district. That is fully free. And then we offer low-cost business consultations, regardless of the phase in your business. So today we're going to chat about what does it mean to run a business or own a business, what's doing business, some business licensing basics, how, why, when, temporary business licensing for folks who are just testing out whether running a business is for them, and then an overview of other licenses or permits for things like construction, because not only do you have to have a business license, you have to have some additional licensure. So again, this is a pretty basic, broad brushstrokes of what you need in Washington. So what does it mean to have a business? Essentially, you own or are running a business if you provide any services, goods, or products to another person or another entity, another business, other than as an official W-2 employee. So even independent contractors are technically businesses. So if you're receiving payment for services, independent contractor, you're running a business whether you realize it or not. I included the city of Spokane definition, and also after our training, we send our slides out to everyone who attended, as well as a link to the video. So I will send you this set of slides, and all the blue links are live links that will take you exactly to where the information is. And so this is the city of Spokane's definition of running a business, but it's a model definition that's been adopted in basically every county, but it's all activities, occupations, trade, pursuits, professions, and matters located or engaged in within the city limits of Spokane, with the object of gain, money, benefit, might not be money, but usually is, or an advantage to the person owning or running the business. So basically, any goods, services, products you are offering for money, whether you're getting paid for them or not, is technically running a business. So what does that mean? What it means is basically every business operating within the borders of Washington State, whether they're based in Washington State or not, so I know all of you are based in the Spokane area, uh, must have a business license. There are a few rare exceptions for some really unique industries that honestly are the kinds of businesses that SIMBA doesn't really work with. Uh, and I'm not necessarily going to cover them today, but happy to answer questions. So what does that really mean? And where do I get a business license? You get a business license from the Department of Revenue's website. The Department of Revenue is also where you will pay and file. And I file, maybe not necessarily pay, because you always have to file a tax return if you own a business in Washington, but you may not have to pay, depending on how much money you've earned at the Department of Revenue. Same login, same information. So if I give you any tip today is do not forget your login information for the Department of Revenue when you start your business or you go in to pay your taxes. And do not create a new login if you've already created another one because it's a real hassle to link them. So always remember that. The Washington State Department of Revenue, that link is the opening business link, will also take you to something called the Business Licensing Wizard, where you can ask questions. If you say, hey, I'm not sure if I need a business license, or I'm not sure what kinds of endorsements or things I need. There's a wizard tool where you put in, I'm going to open a bookstore in Spokane County. It's going to be within the city limits of Spokane Valley. I'm going to have no employees and I want to start on this date. It'll tell you basically exactly what you need, when you need to file it, and how much it's going to cost. So, and that's free to run as many times and to kind of run scenarios if you're trying to figure it out. And that is a screenshot of what it looks like on the actual website there. And one of the things that's linked later in the slides, and you can see, depending on how large you have this on your Zoom right now, there's a little video of how to file a business-like application for a sole proprietorship. So if you're not an LLC or a corporation, it's just you running the business, you're running it under your name or under doing business as or trade name. They actually walk you through it step by step. And the only difference if you have an LLC versus the sole proprietor version is that you have to register for the LLC first. So if you want to watch a video that is really detailed on the questions that are asked, I recommend you go there as well. So business licensing requirements. You need a business license if any, not all, of the following apply. If you're required to have a city or county endorsement. Almost every city in the state of Washington requires you to have a business license if you're operating a business within city limits. So if you are someone who operates a web-based business, it's based on the location of your business. That might be your house, it might be a co-working space. But if you're operating within city limits, that business, you have to have a business license. Only a couple of counties have a county endorsement. So Stoughton County and Franklin County, because not every city in those two counties require an endorsement, but generally you're going to be covered. Some licenses, kinds of businesses also require a state endorsement. Those are things like selling liquor, cannabis, running an architecture firm. There's special licenses for that. You have to have a business license for that. If your business, because we're in Spokane right now, if your business is located within the city of Spokane Valley, Liberty Lake, Airway Heights, Cheney, Deer Park, the kind of major cities within Spokane County, they all require city endorsement. So if you're operating your business, your kind of principal place of business is there, you have to have a license no matter what. If you're running a business using anything other than your full legal name, so we're operating a business called SIMBA. Nonprofits have to have business licenses, and nonprofits are not exempt from state taxes, only federal taxes. You have to have a business license. So you can't be Bob's Construction without having a business license, even if it's just you running. If you plan to hire employees in the next 90 days, or you have employees, that includes minor employees, you have to have a business license. No matter how much money your business makes or what kind of business you run, you have to have a business license to have employees in Washington State. If you sell a product or service that requires you to collect retail sales tax, so any physical product you're selling books or candles or sweatshirts. If you are selling art, that all requires retail sales tax. If you run a restaurant or a coffee shop, which are rampant coffee shops in Washington, that requires retail sales tax. There are new changes to the state retail sales tax code, which is actually the topic at our business bites in September. So if you are doing web design, designing websites for people, if you are doing certain kinds of web-based marketing, if you're doing certain kinds of videography for people, if you're web hosting, you now have to collect sales tax. That starts October 1, so the training's in September. So if you have any product or service that requires you to collect retail sales tax, and that link on these slides, again, that I will send to you after the training, will send you to the list of the kinds of products and services that require sales tax. You also have to have a business license. If you make $12,000 or more in gross income in your business during the year, you have to have a business license. And this is the one that I get asked about the most. People say, oh, I heard if you only make less than 12,000, I don't need a business license. These are all ors, they are not ands. So if any of these apply, then you must actually have, oops, what is happening here? There seems to be someone writing on my screen. So if any of these apply, even if you make $100 and you're running a business not under your legal name in Washington, like your full legal name, so Robin Lynn Haynes, you have to have that business license. It's not just the dollar value. And there's a few other less common reasons why you need a business license, but for the kinds of folks we work with in SIMBA, the folks that I know are here, these are the kinds of things that are going to require a business license. And the link here shows you what cities require an endorsement and what county requires an endorsement as well. So if you're kind of figuring those out, and then on the same page as city and county, it links to those state endorsements for the kinds of jobs where you have to have a license as well, regardless of where you're located. So liquor and cannabis sales, professional services, those kinds of things. When and how to apply for your business license. Technically, you're required to apply for your business license before you start operating your business. And I definitely meet with people all the time who are like, I've already started, selling at markets and I don't have a business license. I'm not quite sure what to do. Don't need to worry about that. Just apply as soon as you can. This is true in almost all locations within Washington State. This is Spokane County specific. So basically, when you start offering your goods and services as an independent contractor or as a business owner, you need to have that license first. If you haven't applied yet, like I said, don't worry, just apply as soon as you can. The state of Washington is really kind to business owners. They're very friendly about that. They understand you can backdate it to when you actually started. If it's within the same year, it's pretty easy. You can complete your application online, and these are links to all those things, by paper or in person at the Spokane branch. Online is the easiest, and it also gives you access to your tax filings. The online application will take you through where your city is, what you need to know. The online application takes about 10 days to process. 10 business days from when you file is when you get your business license. And again, if you are going to hire employees, you need to either change your business license to add that employee endorsement or apply 90 days before you're going to hire that employee. You as the business owner are not an employee. So you don't need to worry about that. The paper filing can take up to 6 weeks to process. So if you're about to open your brick and mortar store and you need your business license, don't do it by paper. In person, you can actually get it same day. That link is to the Spokane branch of the Department of Revenue's office. They have really weird hours. So definitely check the hours before you go. Like they have a rotating lunch schedule and they're not open every day. And then here's a link to that video I mentioned earlier. If you have language concerns, the online application is only available in English and Spanish, but you can get the paper form online at that paper link or at the in-person office in all of these other languages as well. And I know some of you actually work in business services occasionally, so if you need to help someone apply, there's some other languages available for that as well. Some other things about a business license. If the cost of your business license depends on the kind of business you're doing, if you have employees and where your business is located, a business license within City of Spokane limits with less than 5 employees is about $186 a year for kind of an office-based or service-based job. Again, depends on the number of employees. Certain things cost a little more, like construction trades. If you have a lot of employees, it costs more. Seattle costs a lot more money. Colfax is only $19. So maybe you want to open your brick and mortar in Colfax and run your business out of Colfax. So it's going to vary, but in Spokane, city of Spokane, and also Spokane Valley, it's about $186 a year for a for-profit business. If you happen to be opening a nonprofit, it's about $130. You have to renew your business license each year you operate your business. You'll get reminders from the state like 6 days in advance to renew your license. And again, like I said with that login, make sure you use an email address you have access to as a business owner to apply for and manage your business for licensing. So make sure you have safety controls on your business license email address. It's not something that you're going to lose to spam or you're going to forget the login. You're going to need it for both renewing your business license, making updates to your business license, like if you changed locations or you hired an employee or you changed line of business, you went from just retail to also wholesale. Also, we're going to file your mandatory state taxes. So don't lose that login and that email address. And if you have someone on your staff who's doing it, make sure someone else has access to that email address too, because there's always staff turnover or somebody's sick, something gets missed. So what if you're just kind of starting out though, and you only want to do business 1 or 2 times in Washington, or you're our friends and neighbors in Coeur d'Alene or Moscow, Pullman, you're in Lewiston, you only want to do it once or twice. Washington allows you to have a temporary business license or temporary registration certificate if you're doing business in Washington for no more than 2 events of no more than 1 month long. So this is really for our folks in kind of the farmers market circuit, or a lot of people who maybe bring over a food truck for another state for the summer in Spokane or the Tri-Cities or like at the Gorge during the concert season. So you must have a separate temporary business license for each event you do and only up to 2. Your events can be no more than a month long, so 30 or 31, 28 to 31 days, depending on what month it is. And if you conduct business more than 2 times per year or more than 45 days, and more than that 1 month time, you have to have a regular business license. But if you are looking to just work temporarily, or you're just going to sell some, I'm thinking about some women who work with one of the immigrant-based nonprofits who only sell things at like 2 markets a year. They just need a temporary business license. To get a temporary business license, there are 2 mandatory filings to obtain it. You need a form with the Washington State Department of Revenue. It's an email form that takes, I don't know, 3 minutes to fill out. It's your name, your address, and what event you're going to do. And then you get, if you're within the city of Spokane, and this is true of every city, I just kind of tailored this presentation to Spokane, is you must complete a temporary business license application within the city you're going to run that business. That is for most cities, including Spokane, usually a paper form. The temporary form from the state is free, and then the temporary license from whatever city you're operating in is going to vary in price. Spokane at $65.50 right now. I don't know why the 50 cents. So this is for folks like one of our board members, Mountaintop Mentality, spends a lot of time at farmers markets. So they're based here in Spokane. If they were going to spend a month running a farmers market in, say, Pasco, they may just get a temporary license just for Pasco because they normally operate out of Spokane. And we are happy to answer those questions specifically if you have them for that kind of thing. But again, if you're doing more than 2 events a year, you're running your business day to day. Otherwise, you need a regular business license. But this is an option if you're just testing. Maybe you have a side gig and you make soap at home and you want to start selling it. You're going to do it at 2 markets for the year. This might be the route to test it out for you. Other types of licenses that require, in addition to a Washington State business license based on your location kind of business, you may need to have other licenses on top of that. So if you're in construction, you need to have a business license and a contractor license, plus insurance and a bond to be a licensed contractor. There's some other specialty licenses for specialty contractors. So general contractor can do anything. Maybe you're a plumber or you're a roofer. There's some other fees that apply. If you're operating a food establishment, a restaurant, coffee shop, if you are running a grill at a farmer's market selling tacos, you need a specialty permit for that. Those are from the regional health district where you're selling food. If you are a home baker or you're preparing shelf-stable foods like custom spice or tea blends, you can get a cottage license that allows you to bake at your home. The price of that and the price of the food establishment permit is going to vary on what you're selling, how potentially dangerous the food is, and other kinds of things. They all require inspections and other kinds of things. For the cottage license specifically, because we get asked about this a lot, you can only prepare shelf-stable foods, no meat, eggs, or dairy. Meat, eggs, or dairy and eggs can be baked like into a cookie, but it has to be something that can be stored non-refrigerated. And your home is very inspected for that. You need a separate license for that. So a lot of the folks who are at farmers markets selling cookies or brownies or things often have cottage licenses. If you're a food processor, which sounds like a lot, but if you cook, you bake, you dehydrate, you freeze dry. I feel like freeze dried candy has been so popular the last several years, or otherwise prepare food from a fixed location for sale, including buying food in bulk. Like if you bought a 3-pound bag of salad at Costco and divided it into, 8-ounce packages, that is a food processing because it's going from one format to another. You need a food processor license. That's from the Washington State Department of Agriculture. If you run a food truck, you get a permit from the Department of Labor and Industries, your food establishment permit from your local health district and every health district where you're going to have the truck, and a fire marshal's inspection. We actually have a really great video that covers all of those rules if you are interested in the food truck market. One that I like, because we love a farmer's market around here, is if you're selling things by weight, so produce at a farmer's market, you actually have to have your food scale tested and registered as well to make sure that it's correct. So if you're selling someone a pound of Rainier cherries, it's actually a pound of Rainier cherries. Some other resources for you. Again, here's a link to our library. I'm going to send these out to you. SIMBA has business consultations. They are low cost. And 3 of you today will get a free one. And memberships, which also start as low as $13 and include some free consultations, networking invites, and other kinds of things. Other resources that we like in town, Mark Pond is the business librarian at this downtown Spokane library, and he also runs Startup Spokane. They have some incredible resources and tools for small business, including things like buying habits in our community or target market demographics. If you're doing like a direct mail campaign or you're researching competitors, there's some grant software you can use there for free as well to look for grants. It's all free with a library card. So we love that. SIMBA's workshops and events. Again, we run at least 2 a month. One is virtual and one is usually in person. Those are always free to attend. Live Local has its own events calendar and your way to sign out. And today's presentation was brought to you in part by the Small Business Resiliency Network that SIMBA is a part of through the Department of Commerce, and Spokecast, who was our sponsor, because we have a podcast called In the Den, where we interview different business owners and community leaders in Eastern Washington about the highs and lows of running a business, why they care about their Eastern Washington community, and things of that nature. It's on every kind of streaming platform. And then reach out to us for help. Like I mentioned, we have low-cost business support if you want a one-on-one thing. There's just a very short intake form. I know some of you on the Zoom have filled that intake form out before. It's a short form for our records internally. None of the information is shared in any way other than in the aggregate. So we'll say we served 100 women-owned businesses when we report out to our funders because they require that, but none of your personal data is shared. And it also helps us figure out which staff member to send you to or where to send you if we don't know the answer. Something we care about a lot at SIMBA is sharing resources and making sure we have answers, even if we aren't the ones with the answer. So if it's sending you to someone at LNI or an accountant or a lawyer, we will make sure we send you to a trusted person and the right person to answer your question. So that was kind of a lot. We kind of go through these pretty quickly on our session. So I've stopped sharing. Does anyone have any questions? Come off Zoom, you can jump in, or you can all just be done with us for the day. Like I mentioned, we will post this on our YouTube and send you the slides. It'll usually within a week, you'll get those. All the links in the slides are live. Mike, you weren't here at the beginning, but you missed that we give away free consultations. So three of you will be getting a free consultation. We have all of your emails because you RSVP'd. And so we will do a drawing and reach out to you by the end of the day if you get the free consultation and let you know how to do that. And the Zoom is still recording till the end because we just share that information with everyone to encourage them to attend our events. But thank you so much, everyone. We really appreciate you being here. We are grateful to be a resource to our community, and let us know if you need anything. Thanks so much.